First off, look at this awesome logo.
Yeah, and I think we got a couple minutes. Eh?
Yeah, we got a couple
Alrighty.
minutes. Let's
Yeah, like I
let's
wanted to dive into this. There was an artist back home. His name was Raven Dave Seymour. With him there, this is one of the last logos that he got to do in our community. And with that there, like we had the honor of having him in our home a few times. And as a thank you, he gifted us this logo, and after that there, we incorporated it into our business because he was really big, really kind-hearted man and a phenomenal artist within our community.
Dude, I love the hoodie. I love the logo. If at some point you come find the Indigenous Youth Wellness team, we'll also hand you a Cowboy's Roost business card as well for our good friend Wyatt here. Wyatt, you're so awesome, man. Hello, I'm Jordan Robinson, and welcome back to Culture Bytes Podcast. We're in the second season. I'm one of the hosts, along with who's behind the camera, Tristan Westman. I'm the graphics and production specialist of the Indigenous Youth Wellness team, and I am from the House It Nation on Vancouver Island in the Neutral Territories. And today, I have a very special guest I've been waiting for a few months now. Yeah.
I think it's been since before the summertime for sure.
Feel free to introduce yourself.
Alrighty, sounds good. Yeah, and thanks again, Oakway, for extending the invite there. And I know we've been talking about it for quite some time there. Yeah, I'll introduce myself in the traditional language of the Secwepemc people there. Wyatt Camille and Secwepemc. Hello, everybody. My name is Wyatt Camille. I'm from the Secwepemc Nation. In Elkstwin, I'm the Tawiyot, the Sluk Mountain, the youth cultural educator. And I also work with the Insenskacha, the horse. I do energy transfers with the horses, as well as horse sales and mentor youth with equine therapy.
Dude, and that's really one of the reasons why it is cool. We've had a few conversations now, but really one of the most, like, it just caught my ear when we started talking about it. It's equine therapy, horse therapy. And I just wanted to ask, how did you find yourself slowly leading into this? It's a very unique specialty to be so, like, therapy is a thing on its own. Horse therapy, I'm sure there's a huge aspect of like training and things like that. How did you slowly find yourself along this path?
So along this path there, like I'm probably a fourth generation horseman in my family. As I know my father there, and I'll get into depth with that, and my grandparent there, Joe, him and his brothers, during, I do believe it was around World War II, they were training horses for the army there. And then with my father there, when I was a young boy, I was almost deceased. Like I was in the hospital fighting for my life there. And my father, he made that deal with the Creator, Tkal He was mentioning, take my life, not my boys. And with that, Tkal did take his life, but not in the way most people would think. Because after making that deal with Tkal he started getting these dreams through the vision of an old man, and being able to see all these different energies around the Insenskacha, the horse. And he'd be working with this horse in this round pen. And then after understanding the first episode, Tkal would grant him another dream. And within that next dream would be the lay-down ceremony. And with that, because in life we live in two worlds here. And I like to use the Scalia and the Sweat Lodge as an example. We got what we do above, and then what our purpose will be in the spirit world. So you get that full circle of life. And after making my recovery from the hospital there, I started traveling around with my father, going to different communities. The first community we went to was Williams Lake, where I got to know more of my mom's people out inside Eldell, Redstone. But his really good friend, Roland, that's where I got my middle name from, was from him there. And at his funeral there, my father started offering his services to the people. And after that, after people seeing the results and how they felt, word started to spread like wildfire. And we started traveling all over the place, some parts of the United States, Alberta, some parts way up north, out west.
Dude, not only is that, it's a very, you're very much tied to it personally and generationally. It's heavy work to be, and it's beautiful, it's heavy, it's all of the above. How do you feel that, you mentioned he's seeing all these spirits and energy around. How does that, when you're doing the work of equine therapy, do you feel that effect of energy and the heaviness around you still?
Oh, for sure, definitely. There's that aspect of heaviness, but when it comes down to that lay down ceremony there, like after we put that horse to sleep, it almost becomes like a conductor between us and grounding ourselves out with the earth.
Yeah.
And with that Insenskacha being the conductor,
Yeah.
generally rub them in circles there, and whatever's inside of you there, emotionally, physically, spiritually, gets its own release in a good way. And from what I've seen, it has pretty remarkable results.
Yeah. So I think I leapt a little too far ahead here. I'd kind of like to know. Thank you for sharing your story. I know it's a little piece of you each time you share. That's one thing I heard is if you give a piece of yourself, you got to be conscious of who or what you're giving it to. So we appreciate you sharing here. What does a therapeutic session with the equine therapy look like to start? How can we can you give us a setting of how things would go if I gave you a phone call and I was like, hey, I'd love you to come to community and do some work with us? What would that kind of look like from the start to
finish? So starting, like, we'd be on the phone call there and like give you the day rate, and we'd set up a time on the calendar. And after confirming the date and the rest of the paperwork, liability forms, etc., after arriving to community, then we would give a disclaimer at the beginning of the session, and more or less go into depth and educate people that aren't really familiar with the equine therapy, and give a background synopsis on on what we do, who we are, and the results. And after garnering that participation, leaving room at the end for a Q&A.
Is there anything, because I imagine things can get pretty intense in some of these settings. Is there anything that you gotta mentally, spiritually, or physically do? how do you prep for a session? Is there a ceremony that you got to go through, or do you got to mentally prepare yourself before you get started?
I think within those aspects, spiritually, there's always that component there of just being open-minded and transparent, and that also goes within the mental preparation as well, being mentally prepared that there might be some stuff that's going to be released that's going to be really heavy, and allowing that space for yourself to feel and to release. Yeah, and to not be ashamed of your emotions, but to fully embrace your emotions.
Yeah, they're contagious, and even just being in community or in your family, you're not immune to feeling something somebody else feels. So I can't imagine somebody going through an intense session could kind of release some things, and it's not that you pick it up; it's that it can attach itself to you. How do you usually feel leaving after these sessions? Is there anything you do, or do you just kind of?
After doing the equine therapy and that lay down ceremony with the horse there, usually I like to smudge off my equipment as well as my helper, my horse there. Yeah, usually like to smudge him off as well. And myself, that's the biggest thing, is just, and going back to that aspect of things attaching themselves onto you, that they're not intentional, but as most people, it's kind of like a cough, more or less. Like you go into a public setting, somebody has a cough, and it's not intentional, but it does catch on to you. And it's up to yourself to wash your hands, and more or less with them spiritual energies, looking at it that way, it's good to clean yourself off with that smudge and learning how to look after yourself in that aspect.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, is there how much? I'm imagining, but I guess I ask the question. Do you raise the horse from young to old to take with you? Is it a very specific process of the horse you choose for these sessions?
For these sessions there, like generally, and that's a good question that you just brought up there, was that with the horses, sometimes we use horses that are within community, like that will be at the community that we're dealing with, or generally by request we can provide one of our personal horses to conduct that ceremony and that equine therapy.
Yeah. So, what is it? What do you feel it is that the horse's presence does during these sessions?
During these sessions there, I do believe the significance of the horse there is being that balance of the two worlds, being that middle ground to be able to bring us from one place to another, but also being able to guide our spirit back home after we've left this world. And the significance for me is that it's always been a calming spirit. It's been more or less like brings me back down to earth, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that multi-generational, fourth generation?
I do believe
horse?
it'd be fourth, yeah.
Wow. So I imagine your whole life you're just kind of around horses and you've seen a lot come and go. How did that kind of change your upbringing? Like if it's such deep-rooted knowledge from your family, how does that feel to be part of that long chain or weaving?
It's really honorable.
Yeah.
I find it really honorable. And within that being said there, like within all that honor, there's also a lot of sacrifice. Like more or less like growing up, like not having that, I guess like a lot of friendships in that, but there within that sacrifice, there's that honor, and then there's also that reward. And within honing in and focusing on the craft and apprenticing, I find that now that I'm in a position I'm in right now, that I can open up that door for the future generations that want to participate and want to have that person to teach them with patience. As I know that there's definitely a lot of people that teach really old school ways where they don't have that patience and that humbleness within that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to do a callback to our last season, but one of our guests said time is the real currency. And that's all we got is nothing but time. That's the real. A lot of things are constantly trying to grab your attention, but patience is really something that, like everything wants you to be a little faster, streamline it. If you're not there early, you're late. Just all these types of things, and patience really is one of the most valuable, I think, because the only way you're gonna get anything is to be patiently waiting and also kind of be open about how you approach things. Like, man, I can't. I have a couple friends who like owned a singular horse at a stable, but I imagine you got you got a few horses. How many did?
Yeah, growing up, and that circles back to that topic of sacrifice.
Yeah.
Is more or less feed the horses before school and go walk to school. And I'd say school, like from the farmhouse, I was probably about an hour walk one way, and then going to school. Then after that, after school, walking back, and then tending to them horses.
Yeah.
At the time, around that time, we had about 40 horses, but now we're down to a comfortable 20. Yeah.
I was having silly numbers like under 10. I was like, man, you must got like 8 horses, but holy smokes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Then as well as starting that, I guess that lineage program.
Yeah.
Because there's a few horses within our herd that have really significant lineage, as well as details. Like, for example, my horse there, she has her name's Skakwas. She has one blue eye and one brown eye, and now it's passed on to Purful.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so kind of keeping the lineage alive that way too.
Oh, if you were from a distance and there was I don't know if the proper word is herd of horses, could you spot your horse out?
Oh yeah.
You could definitely.
Yeah, she's pretty much one of a kind there with like her, how she looks, as well as just really distinctive.
Yeah. That feels like intensive work. It does, like, sacrifice it's probably a good word to call back to, because that's a lot of your time, but at the same time, you get to do this unique work. There's very, very few things like this. So how did it feel when you started kind of doing this on your own? Was it like an intimidating thing? How did you approach it? Like, kind of what set off the light bulb to like, I need to take this out into the world?
So with that endeavor, I started more or less just keeping my eye out for that. I guess in other terms, there's that supply and demand, but in another sense, there's also that need that people want. And more or less diving into the equine world, there's some owners that are disconnected and becoming that conductor, that middle ground, that middleman to become that connector between owner and horse, to make them one.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So what is the difference between somebody who maybe needs to go do some talk therapy or counseling? What is it they're going to be doing if they feel like they need to call you? What if somebody's your customer or somebody who a community calls onto you for help? What's the difference between if they call in a facilitator or other therapists or anything like that? What do you think it is that makes them go searching for Wyatt?
And I think that that aspect of holistic healing,
Yeah.
because I know that in myself, like having gone to a counselor and that, there's some things a counselor can't answer. And sometimes with that holistic healing, sometimes that holistic healing has some answers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mind, body, spirit.
Yeah. All in one.
Yeah, and spirit's one that I feel like in this huge boom of self-care, health, wellness, all these buzzwords and everything, that it's just kind of the spiritual part feels like it kind of gets put on the wayside a little bit. And just you sharing your story of gathering and the spirits circling and all these stories or visions as you shared, that's huge. That's like that's presence. That's another type of presence that you wouldn't get kind of in a lounge with a certified therapist or anything like that. And how does starting this up make you feel? What do you take from this on your side?
What it makes me feel, there's that sense of pride for sure, as well as that, and that's been a really big topic since the 215 has been discovered, is that word revitalization.
Mm-hmm.
So within myself, being part of a big movement, it's a big honor.
Yeah.
And it's something I feel that we start now, it's going to be talked about in time immemorial.
Yeah.
For when our youth are the ones, they're going to be the ones that'll be holding up our names and lighting them fires.
Yeah.
And conducting them ceremonies, and it's up to us to not to gatekeep, but to include, have that all inclusivity.
Absolutely. One of our elders said, even if it helps one person somewhere down the line, then it's worth doing. Sometimes it may feel like you're yelling out into the void, but someone's gonna hear you, and especially since community, meaning as in Turtle Island, Indigenous, is it's one where we need to hear each other and see each other. So folks like you are an inspiration, because not only do you have a skill or a set of skills that's very unique to you, but it's something that you're filling a role that's kind of niche. It's kind of unfilled, and you could pass on knowledge to others. How you feel? So you do youth work as well.
Yeah.
It was always everything we do here is for the youth. That's what our elders said, and that's how did you get into working alongside the youth?
So within working alongside the youth there, at that moment in that time frame, I made that commitment to sobriety. And it was a really good friend of mine there, and I'm going to give him a shout out, Myron Thomas, from Tecumseh to Squetmch. He's been a really big help in my life, along with Greg Ferguson and my father, Joseph Camille. And with Myron there, he was the one that extended that olive branch to me to pursue the youth work there. And started out with volunteer work, then within volunteer work that got me into working as a right to play youth worker. And within that, we started implementing more cultural programming for our youth back home. And the really big project that I was really honored to bring to the community was the Help an Elder project. And there's a big write-up on Right to Play about that, and it helped out a good number of elders for sure, giving them that inspiration between, or being that bridge between our youth and the residential school survivors. And that was our way of saying thanks for living for us.
Amazing. Dude, I was very excited to talk to you. There's nothing like you out there. And it's a privilege to be able to share the space and hear your story. Just for our listeners and everything like that, do you have any messages for anybody in specific, or all the youth, or anybody else out there, or anybody you'd like to share a message with specifically? What's some gift you'd like to lay down for somebody to pick up?
So within that being said, the big message there is don't be afraid to reach out to your people in your community. And that was a big thing, is my belief growing up there, because I've went and visited most of my elders in the community there, and it was pretty funny there, because I ended up having this conversation with my dad when I was younger. It takes a community to raise a child, and going back to that retribution and the old ways, I'm a pretty strong believer that it does take a community to raise a child, because not everything is right, and not every single thing is wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And having your child being able to form their own ideas and to take a little bit of good from everybody and to make their own.
Mm-hmm. You made me think of a quote that the community sees further than the individual, which is a beautiful thing, because everybody contributes and everybody has a vision, but as one, we could see a lot further down the line. And that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. For anyone out there, how do we get a hold of you for equine therapy?
For the equine therapy there, I got my my Instagram as well as TikTok, and today I'll leave you my business cards there. And yeah, I got my cell phone number. You could reach me at 250-371-1460 to book an appointment or consultation for equine work and energy transfers, as well as an email, Wyatt, WYATT, .kootenay, KOOTENAY, .camille, CAMILLE, @gmail.com.
Cool. I'll make sure to put it somewhere on this magic screen. That is.
For sure. Sounds good. Somewhere up here.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, Wyatt. Inspiration to talk to. We had a few great conversations before we even got to this podcast, and I look forward to anybody encountering you, not for the sake that they need therapy, but they come to you for healing, and healing is a positive thing. And there's no other way but forward. There's no over, there's no under, there's no around. The only way is through. And I appreciate the work you're doing, and I appreciate you thinking about the generations after, because that's the only way. That's the journey, is they continue and pick it up after us. So everything you shared with me has been awesome, and I appreciate you coming on Culture Bytes with the Indigenous Youth Wellness team.